So it's time for me to talk some shit. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Sarah Scharnweber, and I am a horror author in Northern Illinois. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below. As you travel through life, you will come into certain things that other people find incredibly important. Whether or not you find them important, you'll find a Star Trek fan who thinks that Spock is the most important thing that ever happened to the human race, and you'll find a Star Wars fan who thinks that Boba Fett is the god of all things Star Wars, and those people sometimes also want to tell you that your liking of the thing is not enough. A lot of times this is applied to things like fandoms. It tends to be pretty common among fandoms. A Star Trek fan says that I'm not a big enough Star Trek fan because I don't like DS9. A Star Wars fan says you're not a big enough Star Wars fan because you like the first sequels from the early 2000s. A D&D fan says you're not really a D&D player because you play 5th edition or 4th edition and not 2. Those kinds of things are gatekeeping. I have a real problem with gatekeeping because we're all different people and our goals in life are all different. One of the problems with gatekeeping is that it implies that everyone's goal is to become as adept in a topic as everyone else is. I'm a big fan of Star Wars and Star Trek. I'm probably a bigger Trek fan, so write that down so that you can cuss me out later. But at no point do I want to be an encyclopedia of either of those things. I don't feel a desire to know side characters' names 100%. There are some side characters with names I know in both. It's not like I need to know these things. This is not a part of what represents that I am a fan of the thing. And so the people who come at you, the people who come and say, well, that's not close enough to this thing that I think is the right thing, those people are gatekeepers. And I have noticed a little more recently that there are some writing gatekeepers. And I'm not a fan of gatekeepers in general, and I'm not a fan of people telling writers how they can and can't do things. For those of you who may not know, I am a big proponent of do what works for you, not do what I tell you is right. So writing gatekeepers will tell you a number of things. One of the biggest things that I've seen writing gatekeepers telling people is they need to do X, Y, Z to be a writer. Now, we all have different goals in life. We all have a different end goal, a different desire with our writing. Some of us hope that we are the next J.K. Rowling, and some of us hope that we can just get a book out and have someone else read it. It doesn't make one or the other wrong that they both exist, nor does it make you wrong for wanting one or the other. There are definitely writers I have seen in the AUTHORTUBE community who have decided that all writers must go through an editor. All writers must have a book published. All writers must have a novel and not short stories. Those kinds of things. And that's not their call. They don't get to tell you what makes you a writer. What makes you a writer is that you put words on paper or in a computer or whatever. Tell stories, and you write those stories down, and thus you are a writer. So telling someone that, well, you finished your book, but it hasn't been edited, so you're not really a writer, or, you know, those kinds of things is very upsetting to me. I don't feel like our community is clear enough sometimes that you don't have to be a published author to be here. You don't have to have 5 books out. You don't have to be able to edit somebody else's book. You don't have to know why you write the way you write or understand the way your craft works. That doesn't make you less of a writer. Does it affect other parts of you? Does it make a difference in your day-to-day life? Yeah, probably. But it doesn't change the part of you that is a writer. And if you're here and you're watching these videos and you fancy yourself a writer, author, storyteller, please grab that title by the horns and fucking use it. Don't let gatekeepers tell you that you're not an author. Don't let gatekeepers tell you that you can't call yourself a writer or that you can't join AUTHORTUBE or any of those things just because you haven't published a book. But also keep in mind that sometimes these gatekeepers set up gates because the other side of their fence doesn't exist. You'll see a lot of people saying things like, you must go to an editor and get your book edited professionally in order for it to be professional, except these same people don't have a fucking book out. So keep in mind that just because somebody thinks they know the rules doesn't mean they know the rules, and that one of the things that seems to be widely agreed upon is that the biggest rule is that you need to be able to adjust the rules as you need them. So don't let somebody else tell you that it's not good enough. I'm home now. You are good enough.